Today I'm gonna try out this new Rhodia sketchpad. I've never used their sketchbooks before, so I thought I'd test it out on camera so you can see how the paper reacts with the Pilot parallel pens and how good it is for calligraphy, because I've heard great things. So I'm gonna start by opening it up along the crease there. I went for the square pattern on all the pages, which means I won't need to draw out my own guides. Saves a lot of time when practicing. So I am actually going to start with a Zig calligraphy marker rather than going in with ink, just so I can get a feel of the paper and how it is to write with it. Already I'm loving the fact that it has these guidelines in, because I know exactly where I'm bringing in the baseline down to every single time. So far the paper's a really smooth quality. Cool, now I'm going to test it with the Pilot parallel pen, 3.8mm. So the ink is a bit heavier and usually it does bleed on some papers, unless you have the right one, the right weight and the right smoothness of the paper. Here we go. Wow, it is really smooth. The pen just glides across the paper, and as you can see, nothing has leaked through onto the side. You can very faintly see the red ink, and the paper quality it's super lightweight and super thin. As you can see, it's 80 GSM, or 80 grams per sheet. So yeah, I'm impressed so far. One of the great things about squared paper as well is you can work on the widths, the spacing in between the stem of each letter by using the vertical guidelines. So between this one there's about 1 square. Cool, well, I'm definitely enjoying it so far. Let's see how it works with a smaller nib size. So this is the Pilot Parallel 3.0mm, so 3mm nib size. I'm going to go for some smaller letters. You can see the ink collecting at the very bottom of each stem as I pull the nib across the paper. Let's check the underside. So on the smaller nib size, the ink has just started to peek through there. You might not be able to see it on the camera. And look how much the ink has collected. Normally that would have seeped through a lot more, so it's still doing pretty well for 80 GSM. I often find that if you press too hard with the nib of the Pilot pens, more ink flows through, and then that can lead to bleeding on paper, or if the ink's a bit too fluid, then more of it seeps up in the end of the nib and then catches at the very end when you pull and release. So I'm going to try with the 6mm Pilot pen now, and I'm actually going to dip it into some ink. So I'm going to go for walnut ink. I've already got a bit of blue residual ink in the cartridge inside this pen, which is why it's coming out a bit greeny blue. But wow, that is so smooth to pull across the page. Honestly, it glides so easily. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this notepad so far. So there you go. First page of practice in the Rhodia sketchbook. I'm excited to use more.